Chase, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, there you go.
Yes, we have you.
Perfect.
Perfect. Thank you for joining us this morning. I know it's a little bit of a quick turnaround, but we really do appreciate you spending a little bit of time with us under these unique circumstances. So for the better interest of the time that we have, I'm going to go ahead and roll straight into questions. And to kick us off today, we are going to go to Jeff Gluck. Jeff, go ahead with your question for Chase.
Chase, how does somebody find out that they've won a race after you've already left the track, and what was your reaction when you found out?
Yeah, I had my dad and I had already left, so we were flying home, and obviously didn't have any cell phone service. So, yeah, when we landed and whatnot, I had a couple messages, kind of filled me in on what was going on. So yeah, I was just surprised by that. Obviously something that I don't really ever recall happening throughout the time that I've watched NASCAR, or at least in the Cup Series. I've certainly been a part of some situations like this over the course of my short track racing career. So I know it happens, and it's not something that is a complete shock, I guess, in other types of racing, but certainly on the Cup side, not something that we're accustomed to seeing. So yeah, it was probably just kind of more surprised by it than anything. And I don't think any driver wants to win that way. I certainly don't. But look, I don't know what went on. I had already left, finished third, and was just trying to think about what we need to do to be better on the way home, honestly. So yeah, I was just surprised by it.
Thank you.
Okay, our next question will go to Dustin Long. Go ahead, Dustin.
Thank you. Chase, I'm just curious, you say looking about things to do differently with winning the race. I'm guessing, does that change or not really change how you look at how yesterday went for you?
Honestly, no. I mean, in my personal opinion, and at least the opinion of our team in the 9 camp, is, we got beat on track at least. And from a balance perspective with our car, I feel like we could have been better. And that's really where my head was at yesterday when I left, and that's really where my head is at today. So yeah, certainly a very unique situation. Again, as I said a second ago, not something that any of us are really accustomed to seeing. I suppose potentially a product of this car and NASCAR, trying to make sure everyone's kind of living within the guidelines that they set with this thing, I guess. But I don't really know the details of what went on, and I don't really expect to get the details of what went on either.
One other thing I want to ask you is, I want to get a sense of perspective. You made your Cup debut at 19, and while circumstances are vastly different than what Ty Gibbs, experienced yesterday, making his Cup debut at 19, can you give me a sense of perspective of, and maybe you have a better appreciation than I can, of him being able to almost finish top 15 at 19, making his first Cup start, please?
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to be around him much yesterday. I did have a chance to talk to him before the race, and I just told him, like, man, this is a lot going on in the last 24 hours for you. I had time to kind of think about my first one, and obviously that didn't get me very far, but I did have some time to think about it. For his situation, obviously very unique and unfortunate. First thing is I hope Kurt's okay, and we get him back in the car as quickly as possible. Enjoyed racing with Kurt a lot. But yeah, as far as Ty goes, after the race, we were going home, and I asked Dad how he did, and because I was curious, and I think he's deserving. He's done a really good job on the Xfinity side, and he told me he ran a really good race. Was really smart about his opportunity, and ran a really respectable event. So I'm not very surprised by that. And watching him through his Xfinity racing, I think he's done a great job for his team, and has put himself in position in a lot of events has been very fast. And it seemed like he ran a really smart race yesterday and had a good result for himself and his team.
Thank you.
Okay, our next question is going to go to Bob Pockris. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, Chase, with the possibility that JGR could appeal this and the chance that it could get overturned, I guess, on appeal, is there any part of you that wants to wait before celebrating this win?
I mean, look, I don't know that it's really a win that I'm going to celebrate anyway. For me, I don't really feel right celebrating someone else's misfortune, number one. And you're right. Number two, like, it could change by Thursday or Friday or whenever. So the way I take it is, look, I don't know the details of what went on. I don't know, what made them make that decision. Like I said, it's not necessarily something I'm proud of or something I'm going to boast about. Throughout the course of this situation, I thought we were very fortunate to run third, to be real honest with you. I thought we started off okay and then struggled to the midpoint of the event. And I thought for us to get back into the top five there was really a good day. And then to, squeak by that wreck and be able to miss that, I thought we were lucky as it was. So, look, it's, as I alluded to a second ago, no race car driver wants to win that way. And whether it gets overturned or not overturned or whatever, I'm not gonna celebrate somebody's misfortune or whatever for that situation. That doesn't seem right to me. And I crossed the line third. So it's kind of how I'm looking at it.
And I guess this then might not be of too much interest of you, but if you are, if all the appeals are denied and you're the winner, do you have any idea how you go about getting the trophy? Do you have to ask NASCAR for it? Do you ask Rod to go over to Denny's and get it? How do you get it?
I don't know. I haven't even really thought about it. And honestly, if he wants to keep it, he can keep it as far as I'm concerned. I mean, he crossed the finish line first and, I haven't really thought about that. That's a great question, but I didn't really feel like I earned it on track yesterday. So if he wants to keep it, then I'm good with that. I'm not gonna ask for it.
Thank you.
Okay, our next question is going to go to Claire B. Lane. Go ahead, Claire.
Thank you. When this came down, of course, it shocked everyone, but the first thing I thought of when they said you would be the winner is that of all the drivers, you would be least one who would like to win this way. It's just your nature. And I wonder, given that, put that behind, and if it is not turned over on appeal and you do get the win, what are the implications of it? I mean, you're already the points leader. How do you look at, forgetting how you got it, what it means to your team and looking ahead?
Yeah, I mean, as I said a second ago, I felt like we were, to get by that wreck and to get back into the top five and to run third, I thought we overachieved as it was. And that was really how I left the racetrack. I felt like we overachieved. I felt like we were pretty lucky to get by that wreck. And we had a solid day considering some of our struggles throughout the event. So that's really where my head was at. That's kind of where my head was at now. I'm fixing to go to do our competition meeting here in a minute, and we're going to do our meeting as if we ran third, because I feel like we got beat, and I feel like we could be better. I felt like we were solid, but our car could drive better. I could probably execute some things better too. And when you have those things, regardless of the finishing position, whether we had actually won on track or not, I would still enter this meeting with the mindset of, we need to improve from where we sat at the event yesterday. And I think that's how we'll go about it.
I was more talking about the implications, like the points you get from it, et cetera, that looking ahead, like, you can't turn the points back and, you wouldn't want to win that way, but more the implication of it and what it means to your team. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, for us, we obviously, are just trying to put ourselves in position to win. We talk about this every week. We want to be in the hunt every chance we get, every opportunity we can give ourselves. We want to do that. And I think if you're giving yourself those opportunities, the points thing is going to figure itself out. Whether we had run third yesterday or we end up getting the win, I think regardless of the outcome, we're just keeping ourselves in the mix. I think is where we need to be. And if we're doing that, then I think the points is gonna work itself out. It always does if you're performing at a high level. So that's really it for me. And regardless of what happens with all this stuff after yesterday, my mindset really doesn't change at all. We want to keep trying to do that.
And last thing, real quickly, they didn't ring the siren last night. There were some people on Twitter asking about it. They didn't ring them up, did they, at Dawsonville?
Yeah, I don't really know. Like I said, I was flying home, so I didn't learn about all this until I'd already gotten back and kind of had a chance to get everything put away and grab my phone. So yeah, I don't know. Look, it's not something I want to like boast about or benefit from someone's misfortune, right? Like I want to earn first place. I want to cross the start finish line first. I want to get our balance dialed in perfectly on track and execute a perfect race. When we do that, absolutely, I want to be excited about it. I want to sell T-shirts and have the pool room be happy and sound the siren and all that stuff. Like I think all that's great. I just don't think this is the appropriate time for all those things. So that's kind of been my stance, and that's how I'm going to stay with it through the remainder of whichever direction it goes.
Thanks for making the time. We appreciate it.
You bet.
Okay. Our next question will go to Trey Downey with MRN. Go ahead, Trey.
Chase, a couple of times you've mentioned the wreck and the incident between Denny and Ross there. Have you had a chance to see a replay of that wreck, and what's your take on that incident? Obviously, they've had their history. You've had your history with Ross as well, but where that took place on the track, kind of in front of the whole field.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I thought Denny was pretty nice about it. Personally, I mean, he did run him up the track a little bit, but he still left him some room there on exit after it was all said and done. So I thought, all things considered, he was pretty kind about what went on there.
And looking ahead to next week, you mentioned in the past looking to get better at tracks like Loudon and Pocono, but next week we head to a road course in Indy. You led some laps there, finished in the top 5 last year. Just how confident are you heading into the second race at the Indy road course?
Yeah, I feel like we have a lot of work to do. I feel like that's probably been one of my worst road courses personally. I just never really felt like I got a hold of the track last year. Ended up kind of by happenstance running the Xfinity race last year as a sub in for Michael and Ned, and was unfortunate circumstances there, but I was grateful to have run that race because I was really bad on the Cup side until I got some extra reps. So I think that was helpful. So going back, I need to do some homework this week on how to be better up there, because I do not feel very good about that track, and just never gotten a good groove there last year at all. Felt like I was always kind of bleeding and what was never really on offense. I felt like I was on defense more than I was making moves and moving forward. So that's not a place you want to be, especially at those tracks, anywhere for that matter. But certainly something I want to improve at, and I'm going to put some effort into this week to try to do that.
Thank you.
All right. Our next question is going to go to Kelly Crandall. Go ahead, Kelly.
Thank you. Hey, Chase, I just got one for you. Talking about points and playoff points specifically, I don't expect you to declare yourself a favorite for the championship or anything, but when it comes to those playoff points, for the longest time, I think many people felt like there wasn't a clear breakout or someone that had separated themselves from the field. Clearly, with the month that you're having, you're now doing that a little bit. So from that perspective, from a bonus points perspective, are you starting to feel maybe a little bit more comfortable or happy to have to be building up that insurance, as everybody calls it, with the playoff points?
They're certainly nice to have, for sure. It's what you want. It's what we strive to achieve, at the beginning of the season. And I think anything you can do to hedge your bet at a shot to Phoenix is very helpful. And putting those bonus points in that bucket for the playoffs is the best way to do that. We've never really been in a position throughout the course of my career to have very many going into the playoffs. So it is unique and a bit different. You know, even if you take the win away yesterday, we're in a better place from a bonus point perspective than I can recall being in going into the final 10. So, you know, proud of that, regardless of yesterday's stuff, you know, proud of that. And looking forward to these next 4 or 5 races to try to get some more. I mean, I think, you know, there's still opportunities ahead of us to continue to hedge that bet. It's never a guarantee. You know, we've seen guys with 7, 8, 9 wins not make it, you know, to the final 4. However, it does hedge your bet, and anything you can do to, you know, to help yourself is what we want. And obviously the regular season championship thing is a good way to do that. You know, those 15 points are huge. Would love to have them, and we're going to strive to achieve that as well.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Our next question will go to Jordan Bianchi. Go ahead, Jordan.
Hey, Chase, I'm wondering if through this process, your mind would change and that you didn't deserve this. You know, you said you crossed the line third and you didn't feel like you earned this. But if something comes out about the cars that were ahead of you, that they did something that greatly affected their performance, would that change your mindset at all?
Potentially, but, you know, I think unless you really figure out all the fine details, then probably not. Odds are, you know, I mean, it's just hard to say. I mean, it really is, because, you know, look, I don't know what they had going on. None of you guys sitting in your respective rooms know what they had going on. You know, I've been a part of this stuff before, and most cases it's not going to change the outcome. But whether it would have or wouldn't have, I know from firsthand experience in driving my vehicle yesterday that we didn't hit everything perfect. If we had hit everything perfect and I felt like we had everything dead on and we were 100% and I ran a perfect race and we had a perfect day of strategy and we had 3 or 4 fantastic pit stops and everything was amazing and we got destroyed, then maybe, but the way I look at it is we could have been better. I could have done a better job, leading us in a better direction on Saturday for a better balance on Sunday. We could have executed a touch better race on Sunday to not get so far behind. So when I look at those things, I really hone in on that more so than anything else. But honestly, we're never going to know the details and how you put a number on performance to whatever was going on is almost impossible. So the best thing we can do is just look at what we can control, and frankly, that's the only thing that we have solid answers on, and really the only thing that matters to me right now.
Okay, we're going to take one final question, and that is from Chris Graham. Go ahead, Chris, with your question.
Hey, Chase, thank you much for taking the time with us this morning. One of the things we heard in the announcement from NASCAR last night was the fact that they didn't want the teams over-engineering these cars, and that sort of seemed like the direction of where this issue came from. Does it to you sort of feel like this is maybe a bit of a genie's out of the bottle moment, where you guys are so smart, you have so many talented people over there, you're not going to go back on what you know, and you're going to keep pushing the limits as far as you can?
Yeah, I mean, look, them asking race teams to not over-engineer something is like asking a football player to not practice. I mean, like that's kind of silly to me, in my opinion. I mean, if you're not pushing everything to 100%, you're not going to run good. I mean, I don't care who's driving the car. So, if the roles were reversed and we got tossed yesterday, my viewpoint on it would be, hey, like, we're trying everything we can do, and it didn't work out, I guess. I don't know, but it's just one of those things where if you're not pushing in every area that you can, nowadays you're not racing. I mean, that's just what racing is. I mean, you're going to try to maximize every part of the car that you can to run as best as possible. And that's just racing. You can't unlearn the things that these teams know, to your point. I mean, it's just not going to happen. And as time goes on, engineering will continue to be a major factor of this sport and every form of motorsports in that matter. And I just don't ever see that changing. I mean, I really don't. As much as they want to try to have a cut and dry car where you bolt pieces together and go race, this level of motorsports is entirely too smart to just leave it at that. And there's too much on the table to benefit by performing at a high level to not go out there and try to push and maximize everything you can.
Thank you much. Appreciate it.
Yep.
All right, Chase, thank you so much for your time. Again, we really appreciate it. And we wish you best of luck next week in Indy.